Amp Research PowerStep plug-and-play running boards are for the 2009 to 14 F150 owner that's looking for a strong and wide running board but doesn't like the look of an overly large attention-grabbing side step. When retracted, the Amp Research PowerStep will blend in for a clean look with your truck's lines. And with an open of your door, it'll deploy instantly, ready to be used. Running boards make climbing into your truck easier and safer with a texturized pattern along the length of the bar, so you and your passengers will have peace of mind in all weather conditions. With a bolt-on plug-and-play design, I'll be giving this install 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter and expect it to take about 3 hours to complete. This board features a very wide and flat stepping area to make stepping onto the board that much easier and safer. Amp Research placed a texturized black powder coat coating on the boards for added grip to whoever is stepping into your truck, especially helpful for those lifted trucks out there. The bar itself is made from a high-strength aluminum alloy that's rated for 600-pound holding weight. Even with that higher than average weight rating, the steps themselves weigh about 10 to 20% less than the average OE and aftermarket steel steps. The lightweight and aerodynamic design is made to maximize your F-150's fuel economy by not adding any unnecessary weight to your truck. The motors that move the step are sourced from an OE quality manufacturer for a very long life. Just south of $1,500 is going to be one of the most expensive options available for running boards, but you'll be getting your money's worth with the convenience and look that almost no other traditional non-powered running boards can provide. And with everything included in the box for an easy plug-and-play install, you can see why there's a lot of value to go with the high price. Now, if you're using these with a bigger lifted truck, Amp Research offers an extra large version that'll deploy an extra 3 inches lower for easier access that'll run you a few $100 more. Switching gears to the install. This is a bolt-on design with no permanent modification to your truck needed, so I'll be giving this 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter and expect an install time of about 3 hours. Now, let's head over to the shop so I can walk you through the install. Our first step in Amp Research's PowerStep is going to be to set up the motor. So first, you're going to take your electric motor and then your gear cover. Just going to place this on. And then you're just going to have to match up the teeth on the gear for the motor on here. You may need to move this back and forth to get it to line up. With the motor in place, we're going to use the supplied bolts and washers. And then tighten it up with your Allen key. Now that our motor assembly is ready, we're going to take some J-clips so that we can bolt up 4 13mm bolts, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, right underneath. So we're just going to put some J-clips right in these mounting points. With our clips installed, you're going to want to hand tighten 2 bolts. We want to leave enough room because we have our openings at the top, so we're just going to use that. Slide that right in so it's mounted, and then we're just going to tighten up the top ones. Again, it's going to be a 13mm socket. Now that we have the top 2 bolts snugged in, we're going to use the little bit shorter, lower bolts. As for our front bracket, we're going to install it the same way. The 2 longer bolts for the top, and then we're going to install the lower bolts after we install the bracket. Now, with our brackets in place, we're going to start to run the wire harness. We're going to put it through on the passenger side near the battery. The longer of the 2 sides is going to be for the driver's side, and we'll run that underneath the truck. The shorter is for the passenger side. So in our wire harness, underneath the cap is a 30 amp fuse. We're just going to need to remove this before we hook up anything. Now that we have our wires right where we need them, we're going to connect the controller. The only thing to make sure of is when you're connecting it, make sure that the clips do click so that you know you have a good seal. Now, with everything hooked up to the controller, we're going to use 2 zip ties and we're just going to mount it right about here. Cool. So now with our controller hooked up and mounted, we're going to hook up our power. For our truck, we're using an 8mm ratchet and socket. Now, with our controller mounted and plugged in, we're going to put in our ground and power. Start with ground, just for safety. We're going to need to remove our door sill, our kick panel, and we're going to roll back our carpet to gain access to the OBD2 port. So now that we have access to pulling back the carpet, we have access to the hole. So we just need to pull this tape out. And this is how we're going to route the wiring to the OBD2 sensor. So now that we have our trigger wires in, we're just going to do a little bit of wire stripping and then use the included butt connectors to connect it to the OBD2 sensor. With our butt connectors connected, also make sure you do purple to black and purple to purple. And then your OBD2 port is located right under your steering column. So with the wire harness now connected, we're going to just test to make sure everything's working. So plug this into the back of the motor. With that snap, you know it's in. So then replace your fuse. So now our bracket is retracted, so when I open the door, you'll see it fall down. Now that we know our step is working, I'm just going to clean up our wires by we're going to zip tie them up around the brake lines. You can put them wherever you'd like, and then we're just going to use the included zip ties. With all of our wires cleaned up, it's time to put the step on. All you have to do is just line up this T-nut into the slot in the step, and then we're going to screw in the nut. It is movable, so just move it wherever you need to place it. And then when lining up the step, use the front door as your starting point. So line up with the gap in the door. And then the rest will line up. Just using 2 included nuts for each step. Now it's time to install our LED step markers. The power and ground is ready here and here. We just need to strip the wires, connect them with a butt connector, and then we'll put them right up here on your truck. So now, with our step fully functional, it's time for the LED lights. Your supplied butt connectors, so basically you just have to put them on, and then we're gonna use our heat gun and just secure your connectors. So now, with the light connected, you're just gonna peel back the red 3M tape release liner and then place it where you want on your step. It's also a good idea to clean up the metal so that it gets a good adhesion. And then we're gonna do the same steps for the other side. And again, pull off the 3M release liner and then place wherever you want. With our lights on and wired up, our install is complete. To activate your step, open your door, the step will deploy, the lights will light up. To retract, just close your door. A 2-second delay. That wraps up my review on Amp Research's PowerStep running boards. You can check these out and more at AmericanTrucks.com.